Still not sure if we've got sound going. But I think we do now. I had to change mics. It's always something. There we go. We're back. All right, well, sorry, that may have been a run silent, run deep sort of first few points there. We're in the semifinals of the first stop of the boys Midwest Point Series, C2 versus A10, the battle of alphanumeric teams. Pretty close in the early going. C2 has busted out to a lead here, 11-5. That one fails to meet the minimum height requirements. And A10 will serve at 6'11". Right there. Overpass. Briley hammers that down. Looks like it might have been out, but off the block is the call. So cool for Briley. And a 13-5 lead for C2. Nice lead up. All right, Jakai back to serve. Jakai, the architect of the big surge that carried C2 to victory in the second set of the quarter, stepped up at 17 apiece and then served just 5 rockets, mixed in several aces with several serves that had them out of system. And really was the impetus needed to carry C2 to victory in that one. Riley comes into the middle and bangs that down, point C2. They lead 14-7. Caden on the bench and somewhat alarmed to see him in a boot and a knee brace. I understood he was injured in a football game Friday. MRI forthcoming to see if that's bad or not. That can't be great, but we'll hope for the best. And it's not a significant injury for him. Riley, nice swing there, bringing the harm. And a 15-7 lead for C2. Our Huddle live stream toggled itself off. It did. So you're probably not joining us on the Huddle live stream. All right, timeout on the floor. C2 with a commanding 16-7 lead. They've cracked this thing open after relatively close in the early going. Timeout. Rory back to serve it. Trouble brewing. Kept alive. A free ball though. Sound the feasting horn. The back row swing from Rory was stepped over the 10-foot line, so point to A10. They'll serve. We've doubled them up at 8-16. Not a lot on that one. I guess was going for the shorty and did not make it the requisite 30 feet and some change. point to C2. They now lead 17-8. Josh with the serve. It's sundered off the block and out of play. Off Parker. 9 serving 17. Well, back-to-back service errors for A10, making it difficult for them to close the gap. That'll bring up the blind bomber. Bradley will serve at 18-9. Nice serve. What a good pass. Back row for Bradley. That's off the blocker. Might have been off some noggin, but another back row attack is called as Bradley must have stepped over the 10-foot line. I'll get a better look at that on the replay. Whoa, I don't know that I agree with that. Although this angle may not be all telling. They have a better angle at the sidelines, of course. Sakai, nice job keeping that alive. It did touch him on the way over. Funneled out. Josh keeps it alive. A10 with the dump. Riley keeps that up. That's going to be Cuatros Contactos. And A10 will serve. They trail by 7 at 11-18. A10 playing back-to-back. They won the other quarter on this court. Jakai hammers that down. And now Julian will try to pull us into the red zone and make us the first to 20. He serves at 19-11. A paintbrush that handcuffs Riley and a point for A10. 12-19 now. Nice wipe down, covered by A10. The roll shot, the guy's there. He blasts that down. Ooh, wow, okay. Yeah, that one was in too. I'm not going to say the officiating crew is doing a bang-up job here. That one down for all to see, and a 2013 lead. All right, Josh back to serve now. Off the block and down. I'm not sure. Wow, Riley didn't try to pounce on that. It was pretty clearly touched at the net. So. Sorry guys, make a little adjustment here. Great facility here, other than the availability for camera sight lines. 21-14, out to Briley. That's banged down, but it looked like there might have been an R2 call. Maybe a net violation on C2 before the fireworks started. That will erase the swing and make it 15-21 as they're back to serve. Rory, nice rip in the middle, but the blocker stays with him and gets the point. A10 trying to claw back in. They trail by 6 at 21-16. In the back row, Jakai, that's out the back door. C2 wants the touch and gets the call. All right, Jakai with the kill off the block. I think it's 16 or 22-16 rather. Rory, that's into the net. 17-22. Well, moments of brilliance being punctuated by some moments of inconsistency for C2. Probably our biggest opportunity. Bradley goes high hand, gets the point. 23-17 now. C2 attack a little short-handed this weekend, only 7 available. Caden, as we noted, injured. Several others with some other commitments, including state tourneys in CDP, et cetera, et cetera. Parker with a deliberate swing out of the middle. Gets it done. That'll bring up set point. Josh will serve it. That one drifting wide down the line. Well out of play. Point A10. That's a bucket of beer in most club hierarchies. 18 serving 24. Set point and a handful, and A10 serves that one out the back door. So set one in the books on behalf of C2. They're halfway home to punching a ticket to the final. We'll be back with set 2 in just a minute. I do love the R1's escape hatch. You can see them climbing out of the basket. Catch up on some of the action from Grand Sands, P1440's Fab 50 Dev Beach Tournament. Riley's sister's supposed to be playing in that, but had to withdraw with a lower extremity injury. Hopefully that'll be fixed in due course. Some of the best teams in juniors beach volleyball rocking it out indoor on the sands at Grand Sands this weekend. Keep big fun coming up Thanksgiving weekend as the East Coast Championships move down to Clearwater. Several of the C2 boys will be in action, I believe. Everyone enjoys some sandy turkey. One of the funnest tournaments of the beach year. I'm sorry. No, it's the end of set 1. C2-1. I don't think there's been any major storms roll through the Clearwater area, so I think the last couple of years there have been some big storms washed through there, and in addition to the damage and disruption of lives there, from a volleyball perspective, just really packed the sand down and made it about as jumpy as your average indoor surface, so hopefully the sand will be a little looser. It'll feel more like a beach event. Shout out to our favorite Crimson, Bridget Egan, celebrating the end of the volleyball season for Harvard. Tough year for Bridget, having to play through some injury and taking on a rather unaccustomed role as a defensive specialist. You know, she'll be back in the swing of things for the spring season and beyond, so look forward to that. All right, A10 opens fire with a long shot into the wall, point for C2. They continue to bomb the outside of the court. I don't know if they were looking for a tool off the hands there, but they missed them. Point for C2. I'm not sure where A10 is from. I do like the sort of Spitfire teeth on their shorts there. All right, passing error makes it 3-0. A10 hemorrhaging points here in the early going. Nice swing down the line there, though. That's out of the rafters. Great play by Julian. Keeps that alive. A10's got to be kind of bumming because that ball was gonna, you know, without a ceiling, would have been well out of play. But nice play by Julian off the rafter, and then ultimately tidied up by Briley with a long shot to the middle. A10's got to be feeling a little snake bitten here as they've lost points in just about every conceivable way. I think A10 now contending that, come on, guys, that ball was not going to be playable off the ceiling should that really be continued. But I think the ruling is anything but the back walls are in play. There are local rules in some places where balls that are heading out of play like that might not be playable, but unless you've got a specific surface to identify, you can't really make that other than a judgment call, which they generally are reluctant to do. Play will call as stand, point for C2 off the roof, or some appurtenance thereof, although A10 pleading their case that, come on, that was unplayable. I kind of agree with them. Although, as one of my favorite British colleagues used to say, them's the rules. C2 will serve 4-0 lead. Josh puts it in play, a tip coming. Jakai's there. And a bit of a disruption to the camera booth. Again, Booth being a bit aspirational. A10's on the board, they'll serve. Lollipop-ish to Jakai. That's not going to get the job done, fellas. C2 takes polite advantage of the lollipop serve and scores 5-1 for Briley. The blonde bomber kicks and fires. Not a lollipop, but a good pass. That one is chundered well out of bounds. Point C2, they lead 6-1. Ball wandered over to the adjacent court. It's been returned, though, and Briley gets to reload. Boom! Nice top spin, but a good set, or center pass, rather. We saw this in the earlier quarterfinal, and once more here, people go to try to tip over Jakai and underestimate his reach. That is thrown back. 7-1, Briley with the ace, just a rocket there. Always a good time when the blind bomber gets the jumpy dialed in. A good time for us, not as much of a good time for the opposition. Goes with the shorty, trying to disguise it. I know you couldn't see it off camera, but a nice job there. It looks, for all intents and purposes, like the top spin, and then slowed down at arm swing. and dropped in the dirty ace off the net tape and down. I think some perspiration maybe on the floor they're looking to mop up. On the A10 side. Could be that someone is horribly sweaty. Could be they're just trying to stall and frost the blonde bomber. It is a meticulous mopping job. I would like to have them over to the house at some point. All right, 9-1 now. The floor is mopped and clean, and blonde bomber back to serve. Refusing to be iced, but a good pass. Julian with a nice out. And a net violation called against C2. Not sure who the offending tuna was, but point for A10. They'll serve. 7-point gap at 2-9. Nice swing there. Bangs it through the block that had failed to close. 10-2 now. Thank you. On King Julian. Dual service. Josh with a nice up. Julian tracks it down. Ladles over to Jakai, who sends it deep. Nice dig. Back row for Briley. Bangs that through the block with a good pass, and Jakai sees wide open real estate in the deep corner and shoots it right there for the score. (11-2). C2 firmly in control of this one. Another dirty ace. Not sure exactly what happened to the potential passer there for A10. Just kind of froze in place and watched it drop to the floor off the tape. Go out on my limb and say not a beach player. All right, that's serve. Just a bit outside. Point for A10. They've been few and far between in this set for A10. They serve now down 9 at 3-12 and showing an inability to get out of their own way as they serve that one well long. Of course, I was also critical of the rather easy serve they did last time. And the dude in the pink shoes was kind of stretching his calf or something when the serve was called. I don't think he was 100% ready. And what we have here is a failure to communicate. That one falls in between two would-be passers who decided not to be passers. Point for C2. They're rampaging at 14-3. Jakai straight down with an exclamation point. (15-3) as the big fella brings the harm. All right, Josh's serve fails to miss, and A10 will go back and serve it. They trail by 11 at 4:15. Nice serve, but right at Briley. Out to Jakai. Banged off the bro. That's into the net and playable, but once again, A10 a little slow on the marks. I know who would have had that was Jill Bohannon from Assumption High School. She's done a magnificent job of getting such balls out of the net for the Rockets this past season, most notably in the final. There's Jakai with a bit of a misfire. I think all 5 of A10's points have come off of C2 errors, so it's not a testament to their offensive output. 5-16. Back row for Jakai. That's well into the A10 fan base. Keep your head on a swivel over there, folks. Did I mention we're making friends wherever we go? 6 serving, 16. Rory, nice swing out of the middle. Did some contortionistic looking move afterwards. Julian fights his way to a pick by his own teammate, but gets the ball over to Rory. Well, another service error, another point for A10. They trail by 10 at 7-17. The C2 squad has shown some lack of focus at times when the going gets a little easier. A10 returns the service error favor with a blast into the net. And now Josh will serve up 11 at 18-7. Dumped over, covered. Jakai with the set. Nice swing. It's off the block and down. Point for C2. Had to do a quick double take and make sure that wasn't blocked down on our side. I didn't think so, but sometimes my eyes deceive me. Off the block, Josh keeps it up. Jakai to hitter Josh. The lob and lefty. And that will pull C2 into the red zone at 20-7. A10 will take a timeout. All right, C2 out of the timeout. They are firing on all cylinders, even if the bench is a little bit short. Setter Josh puts that into play. All right, nice swing. Maybe a good timeout for A10. The best offensive swing I think they've had in this match, certainly in this set. They've got a hill to climb, though, trailing by 12 at 8:20. And that ain't gonna help as they continue to suffer some self-inflicted wounds. They serve that one well wide. That'll bring up the blonde bomber, serving at 21-8. That's off the candy cane and OB. Point for C2, not an ace, but definitely out of system. 22-8 now. Riley reloads. Just a rocket there. That one wasn't it. That one had some pace. Well, I was chastising Riley a bit for not practicing some serving this week. It seems like whatever he did end up doing has kind of worked out. There's another nice serve, and that will bring up match point and a Googleplex of them. This was beach. I know we would see a sky ball here, so let's see what he's got up his sleeve on match point. Nope, just more heat. I like the focus. Good pass, though. Nice up. Run it quick. That's covered, though. Out to Jakai, and that's off the hands. And a net violation on A10, though, and that'll do it. C2 wins handily in set 2, 25-8. They keep their sweet string alive, and they've punched their ticket to the final. We'll be back in about an hour. The other semifinal is ongoing. I believe that is Cincy Attack versus someone with some wicked-looking flames on their pants. Anywho, we'll find out who that is, and we'll be back in about an hour with the final from here at TOA. Until then, we're signing off.
I saw Briley forgot his jersey yesterday, and they made him. He wore the wrong jersey.
Say what?
He wore the wrong jersey.
Oh,
yesterday.
yeah. He didn't pack the blue one.
So he got to play libero.
Let's see here.